Everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party. I just finished up my Cypress demo video. I'm hoping to maybe drum up a QA kind of position, you know, from it. Who knows? It was just kind of the first try at something different. I hadn't posted to LinkedIn in 11 months. It had been, but then it asked me to like verify myself, and I was like, oh, okay, fine. And then it was like, yeah, you have to send either a government ID or a work email address. And I was like, yeah, nah, bro, not interested in that. I don't. I We're in a weird spot, with data, and I just, like, it's not a good idea, I don't think, any to share very much work information because, like, for example, we have a business, and my son, he does some software development for us in my business, and so he was like a junior developer on the business, and his birthday came up, and like my wife started getting emails of people basically trying to get him fired. Trying to basically replace him as employee. So it was just like, yeah, he put his birthday on LinkedIn, put where he works and what his title was, and then whoever they are is looked at that data and said, oh, let's go try to unemploy him. So that's kind of a bummer. But anyways, so I'm working on something that's just completely new at work that I've never worked with before, and basically I needed to learn a whole new thing. Which when I first got the task, I didn't realize I was going to have to learn this whole new thing, and I had attempted to learn it a few times in the past, and that's like workflows and things like that. And every time I ever got it, I just, like, any kind of data I ever, or anytime I was doing any research, it would get weird, right? Like, just right out of the bat, they start talking about state machines and this and that, and the vocabulary would just get crazy. And it was kind of like a barrier to entry, like there were definitely just a natural barrier to entry there. So what I did was, I started interacting with ChatGPT, and I think I made more progress in like 4 hours than I could have in 2 years of like college courses. Just because I knew exactly what I wanted to know, and I was like, for one thing is like state machine or workflow engines are very interesting because they they do a lot less than I thought would do. They are more, you tell it what the steps, what is happening, not it telling you what's happening. Like, you say, okay, I'm moving from this state to that state, and then you give it like a command, and then you can query it at another time and say, okay, what's the current state? So there was more of that. I thought that what would happen is, I didn't know what would happen. I guess what I was imagining was, oh, let me give Rhett her peanut. You want that? I guess she wants that. There you go, girl. So yeah. So basically, workflow engines are not what I thought they were at all. So that, and they're very powerful. I can totally see why you'd want a workflow engine, because you just want to persist. Hey, what is the state of this thing right now? And I don't want to have to recalculate it every time, and then I don't want to have, and I like to have like a little image that sort of I can look at, and I can quickly get the state of something that happens over time. So I could see it. I think it's pretty cool. But anyway, so one thing is, apparently I need to clear my ChatGPT memory. I don't know exactly how to do that. But when I did upload my video, I was just like, trying to figure out what hashtag to use. And so I tried hashtag Cyprus, and it was just like, wait a second, I think that's a country or something. So I was like, what should I do? So I went over to ChatGPT and I said, I created a video to show off my Cypress E2E test, and I'm getting ready to upload it to YouTube, but I can't figure out the correct hashtag. And it says, nice. And then it told me hashtag Cypress is the number one thing. Then Cypress IO, E2E testing, end-to-end testing, and test automation. And I was just like, And then so I said, I looked up hashtag Cypress, but it seems like it was for the location. Oh, you're right. It's like it could, if you don't know what you're doing, this is a tool that you can really screw yourself with. And it's really hard to know when you're at risk and when you're not at risk. I think that's the hardest part. But I do think that it is a tool. And it's just like any other tool. Like, you can use a tool or the tool can use you. That's the way it is. Like, there's some people that they have $10,000 of tools in their garage that they only put up, and that was the first thing they did, or they have them in boxes or something like that. Yeah, the tool used them. They spent their money on some tool and got nothing for it. And then there's other people that, they buy a wrench and they use it every day, and they make $100 a day, $200 a day with this $5 wrench. Like, they use the tool. It's the same thing here. Now, what I guess the thing I'm mostly concerned about with this specific tool is it sure feels like I'm using like I'm driving a Ferrari, and I'm paying for a Yugo, and it's just like, did I, am I just gonna get used to using this Ferrari, and then like it's gonna be like, okay, and now it's gonna be $10,000 a month if you want to use it, because that's what it costs us just to get this thing running. I don't know. It feels like, I don't want to become completely dependent on this tool, because I think it may be a little bit more rich for my blood. You can buy a subscription, I think, for like $25 a month, and does that even pay anything, or is it just some sort of just test? Who knows? But anyways, so there is that. And I do like these videos because, honestly, like, these videos are really more for me than anybody else, for me just to kind of think out loud and get through stuff. But we are working on trying to create a menu up here so that I can have a way to add these instead of them just be printed out. I want to be able to add them and delete them. And the first step is to add a little menu here. And this menu, like, let's see, if I go here and I scroll, it's supposed to, yeah, see, it just stays in place. And that's what I wanted out of this. That's really what the goal was. So now I want it to look nice. And so I want to use Angular material. And I don't actually think I have material installed. And the easiest way to tell is to look in your dependencies. Oh, geez. So I did not realize this was going to be a video on how to install Angular material. So historically, I've always gone to their website and just followed the instructions there, but I think it might be easier to use ChatGPT. I'm not 100% sure, but and then, so this is one of those things where I wish I'd have realized this, because I honestly wish I had the installation of ChatGPT in its own commit. And I think I might do that anyways. I feel like this probably is going to seem extreme, but I feel like I should delete everything I have and start not not the whole application. Delete everything in this, all the uncommitted work, and just install Angular material and make that a single commit. Because I might do something wrong and want to, I might realize later that I did something wrong. I want to undo that. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer. It's one of the hardest things to do as a software developer, I think, is just like delete a whole bunch of work. I could stash it, but and then okay, so let's do that. Let's just go ahead and stash it and see what goes. So get stash. I did already stash it once today to make my other video. So I'm going to stash it. Now, one thing that annoys me about stashes, which is unfortunate, is that it won't actually stash things that aren't staged. I think all I have to do is stage it, though, and then it'll stash it. So let's do that. Let's stage these things. So basically to stage it, I just say get add dot. I guess it makes sense that you would have to it has to somehow exist in Git's world to be able for Git to be able to do anything with it, and unstaged stuff is just so. Anyways, git stash, and I believe everything will be gone. Okay, so it's like it never happened. All right, so now hopefully we remember at the end of this to unstash it, but who knows. Angular 19 project, and I want to add Angular material. So the one reason I don't like that I wait as long as I can before I install Angular material, that I don't just do it out of the box, is because it used to be, and I don't think it's like this anymore, but it used to be a real pain in the butt to do an upgrade when you had Angular material. Like, I don't know why, which it doesn't make any sense. Like, because I was watching the Angular, I really enjoy watching the Angular live streams, and someone had asked like what percentage of internal Angular applications use material, and the guy was like literally like 99%, and that when they do the upgrades, it's the Angular team's job to do the upgrades for everybody. So that was interesting to me. The other thing that just blew my mind is that and I'm always like, it always blows my mind, the stuff that Google does that like everybody would just be like, that's not appropriate, but apparently every application they have is in one giant mono repo, and so is the Angular source code. So like you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to, in an Angular application, I don't think you can just, the way they've got that set up, you can't just do a upgrade and not, and take only certain pieces. I don't know. The way he was describing it, it sounded like it would be impossible to, like, if they made a small change in Angular material, that change is going to come through, period. They have no control. They have no, because of the way the architecture of their source control is set up, they have no control over that. But so let's do this thing. Okay, ng add Angular material. Choose a theme. I thought you. I don't think that theme thing is a thing anymore. Use material components. Add material styles. All right, let's go to the Angular. I don't know. Something didn't seem right about that to me. Angular material. And see, that's like another thing. Like if you have, like, I'm just like, that doesn't seem right. And then set up global. Yeah, see, there's no theme. Yeah, see, there used to be themes, but I think they went away from that. Let me ask Angular, ChatGPT. They got away from themes. Oh my god, you son of a... Why? Current best practices for Angular Material 19. I said I had 19. Okay, so, well, trying to install it because just need to install. So it's kind of good, to remember things. So, well, okay, so, in the future. Other components. Install. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you want to try to do it without it, and then. Are we back to the theme? Okay, so. That is pretty helpful, though. All right. And then over here, they're saying choose theme or name a custom. Okay, so you still do choose the theme. All right, so I feel good about this. I'm going to. Okay, so I'm going to add this to my packages folder. And so I have my packages folder, and what do I do anytime I go to the package folder? I close all others. And then I guess I want to do this up. This is the only one, probably, I don't know, probably right here. I'm pretty sure this will work. Now, I probably want to kill my. I probably don't want to have it running when I do this. I don't think it'll hurt anything, but I might get some kind of weird result. npm run material. I swear it is just so wild that they did not have add comments to JSON. Like, that's weird. npm run material. Okay, that should do it. I think this is usually a bit. Yes, this is usually a bit time consuming. And like there were times where you could just really screw up if you make. Okay, so there are. Okay, so we have different ones now. Azure blue, rose red, magenta violet, cyan orange, or custom. you can choose a pre-built name or custom for a custom theme. Okay. And then, see, this kind of doesn't tell you. I think it just says, or set up an extensible custom. Okay, so I see that I can pre-built theme or theme or a custom theme. What are the consequences? This is for selecting custom instead of a pre-built. In the past, I wouldn't even know. Well, we wouldn't even, like, I would have no way of, like, I guess Stack Overflow, you get people's opinions, but I mean, it's just, so no extra code automatically. Okay, that is a good point. I don't know if I'll ever want that, but being able to just automatically say light dark mode can be a real lifesaver if you ever needed it. Yeah, I don't give a shit about any of these. All right, so my choices are Azure Blue. The problem with Azure Blue is that, like, then everything looks like you didn't build it. It looks like you're using like some. It doesn't look like custom code. It looks like something that you built. Rose red. I don't know. It's just magenta, violet, cyan, orange. I think cyan orange is probably my favorite actual colors. I wonder why they don't have them in alphabetical order. Isn't that weird? So I think you hit the down button. You got to click into the terminal and then hit the down button or the up button. Let me see what it thinks about. So Azure Blue is probably the best looking, but then it doesn't look like a custom product. It looks like a MS product. See what it says about that. Exactly, you're spot on. Polish monitor, but because it's so, it can make your app feel like a generic enterprise tool or Azure dashboard rather than something branded and unique. It seems like cyan orange might be a good bet. Something looks nice, but doesn't seem like a MS product. Clean modern look without being too corporate. Orange adds worth friendliness. Blends, grades, enterprise UI while being professional. Yes, I like that. Hit the max. I don't know. I don't actually sense a difference between their top AI and then I guess what you get dropped down to. So rose red sounds like it might be very intense. Sorry, everybody. If you feel in some kind, it would be over. It could be overall. It's particular bold color. It's great call of the warning. Theme color. Well, so yeah, rose peach would sound like it'd be really nice, but yeah. Rose peach. Yeah, I don't want to do that. So I think I'm gonna go with cyan orange. And again, like normally, I just feel like this is something that you would normally just blow by. Like most of my career, up until maybe a year ago, I would have just blown by something like this. But like you do not get that many chances to learn things. And when the chances come by, normally we just let them go. And this was a chance to just really dig in and learn a little something, and then and be a little smarter when you're done. And it really pays to kind of have that mindset. So now I got to make sure I click back in here, hit cyan orange, set up Angular material typography. I think I want that. The one thing I think is that I think that after you do this, it ends up going to like online to get the typographies, which is not that big of a deal for me. But like I have worked in environments where like the application needed to work locally, and it without a connection to the internet. I think global material typography cells. Let me ask that. Will the application always need to go to the internet to download fonts? I think that's the consequence. No. Okay. So if I say if I select into typography, will it not go to the internet for fonts? See, yeah, I had this job once where it was just an absolute nightmare. It probably wouldn't be today. I think this is a kind of a thing that would happen a lot, and they've come up with solutions. But where I had this, like where we just had a nightmare scenario trying to deal with fonts getting loaded because the computers needed to go into the field and they didn't have internet access. It was like on purpose. They had this computer that they would pull out, and they wanted it to just be able to run all by itself, but we had Angular material fonts on there. So I want it, but like I said, because I don't care, like fine, will go online and it'll cache it. So even if I don't have, if I just want to work locally, I'll probably be able to just have it'll be in the cache, so it'll be fine. But I did want to sort of understand that because I have a feeling in that project, had they said N at this point, our lives would have been a lot easier. But I think the project was already like 6 years old when I started working there. It was such a just a strange ass project because it like it was an organization that worked with another contract organization like across thousands of different projects, and that other organizations, the contract organization, they had a lot of custom, like, what would you call it, like cultural custom widgets and stuff that they had built, but it wasn't like a widget library. It was more like just a bunch of stuff that all their developers, like, if had you ever worked on another project, you would have gotten those widgets in the other code bases. And so then the contractors would hop around from one project to another, and then they would just like go, oh, you need a XYZ thing, and so they'd be like, yeah, we need, let's say, for example, the the tree dragger. We need a tree dragger. And I'd be like, what the F is a tree dragger? And they'd be like, yeah, we just need it. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And they're like, I thought you were a programmer. I was like, yeah, but there's nothing called a tree dragger. And then no, what it was that they were all working on like 10 projects, and there was something that the other 9 projects had called a tree dragger in it, but I'd never heard of a tree dragger. I was only working on one project. They were all like, all the direct employees of the organization were all like screwed up in the head, like like they couldn't really differentiate what project they were working on because they were always context shifting, and so their sort of context boundaries were all completely blurred, and they had no ability to sort of think. They couldn't differentiate between the different projects that they were working on anymore, and which caused like some severe mental illness sort of situations. But anyways, we have a new styles.css. Basically, it changed my body, and it changed the body to a height of 100%. I don't know if that may have a negative impact on my application. I don't know. It updated the index.html, which is something that we don't typically update. Yes, and it pulled in these 2 things, which is the nightmare scenario I was telling you about, and it added this class across everything. It updated my package, which totally makes sense. Added these 2 dependencies, and it decided to get rid of that extra line back there, which I've worked in a lot of places where that extra line was required. Package lock, I don't even look in there. Don't go in. Do not go in there. Don't go in there. And Angular. It added this in my Angular JSON. It added the styles. So basically, this is sort of like a magical sort of thing where like, if you don't realize it, basically it's like kind of like this up here, but like sort of a magic behind the scenes injecting of these in there. And it does it twice, and I think one is probably for, let's see, I was hoping I could collapse these. So one is probably for architect, project, space-time, root. So one is in here in this space-time thing. Oh, they're both in there. I don't know what the difference is. I guess one is for development. I don't know. So I see that it made changes. I see that installing material made a few changes in my angular.json file. You know what? I actually think the older version works better. I think I found that every time I run out of my full blown, the older version, I think the older version is less creative. It doesn't do as much creativity. Okay, so I think this is, yeah, so this was not in my global styles. Okay, so yes, you can remove, replace them, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so why does the same styles change in two different styles arrays? One for the tests via Karma ingest, and one's for development and production builds. So that's what that's about. So that makes sense. Okay, yeah, and so that was the node that I was kind of, okay, yeah, and there's that. Okay, so yeah, it's in, this one's in test, and then this one is in builder. I don't know, that's weird. Yeah, so this is in build, I guess, and then the other one's in test. Now, so it made changes. Okay, so is there, okay. Gets styles.css and the material styles into the runtime code. So basically, behind the scenes, it kind of injects these in there. Yeah, I don't care about that. So I guess there's a way you could kind of combine those. Oh, okay. So that's actually what I was asking. See, so you could do these at imports in the style. Styles.css. So is there another way to import styles? I'm very curious about this. Styles.scss is the official recommended method. I think it's a pretty good method, but sometimes you see it in other ways. So you could do it in main instead. You could just have your import there, but it's less idiomatic. Okay, so yeah. So at the component level, you could also do it. And I have seen that sort of set up in places. All right. So that is good stuff. Let's go ahead and, oh, well, let's make sure the application still works. Make sure we didn't break it, the application. Probably that would be one of the benefits to doing this at the very beginning, is like, you know, it's not going to break your application since it's already working. Oh my gosh, and this is such a good time to use our Cypress unit tests, or our Cypress end-to-end tests. Like, we don't have to just remember the things. Boy, it seems like it's really slowed the build time down. All right, so let's go to our Cypress end-to-end test. Oh my gosh, that's so effing cool. npm run Cypress :open. Because that looks good, but you know, there's no telling if anything else might be broken or weird or whatever, and we'll be able to watch. We have 3 end-to-end Cypress tests, and I can just run them and see what's going on. Now this will blow up the whole, take over the whole screen. The whole screen. It's kind of cool though. If I hit the resize, it literally just takes the exact camera. It remembers what it was at last time. So that's nice. So let's see if our home passes. That looked good. And then specs. Let's go to our viz. That looks good. It's to the only real one. I mean, I feel like those are real tests, but, and home will, I think home will start looking for that thing. Yeah, so everything seems good. So nothing got broken as far as I could tell. I mean, like, obviously these tests aren't an absolute 100% guarantee, but I will say that I do feel a lot better about the application. And had we gone a little farther before we installed material and we had like a couple dozen of these things, I would feel good. I do think that I should reduce that too. Well, after this, hopefully I remember, at some point I need to reduce those to like make it really, really fast, because, you know, at some point, well, I guess whenever I get tired of looking at it, I'll make it fast. It's going to be easy enough. So let's go ahead and commit that. Oh man, so one of the advantages to adding that script to the top of my package.json instead to the bottom is when I bring my stash back, I won't have to worry about a conflict there. So that's going to be nice. Git commit -m adds material. I think it's called Angular material, right? Let's go ahead and push that. So I feel good about that. And then let's do our git stash pop. So the nice thing about git stash pop, as opposed to like kind of using the tool for this, is that let's see, let's go look in. I think this is the right one, right? There's one of these where I don't know. I guess that's just where I work. I actually have another one of these in here that shows all your stashes. But git stash pop will not only pull your stash back, but it will also remove, if it's successful, will also remove it from the stash list. Not the stashes are big. I mean, they're teeny tiny. You know, no matter how much code you change, there's literally just the changes. But And we did not have any issues. Okay, so now in my app menu, what I would like to use is I would like, so now that I have Angular material installed, I would like to add what is it called? Oval, something, vertical, oval icon. I think it's ovals icon menu icon. Vert to more vert, more vert. And I probably do want it to be a button. And this area label is my understanding and my experience is that screen readers will read that. More options. I don't know what's going on here. It's like I don't know what the difference between changes and stage changes are. But let's go ahead and unstage everything. I had only staged them so that they would be, oh, okay, yeah, because they were just changed. Yeah, that's all that was staged. It just literally brought me back to my original state. Okay, so let's try this. I don't know. Copy. Oh, I'm in a weird. It's so weird. What? Did I lose it when I unstaged it? I don't know. I have no idea what just happened. Okay, so mat icon, I think I have to bring that into my module. Not into my module, but into the imports. And I think since it's a standalone, I have to do it like add all those. And I guess this would be a good reason to create a module so that, I don't know. All right, so this is sort of new. Like I'm experiencing a novel thing here where with standalones and now I have this material thing. Do I want to actually create a module that has like everything that I typically use everywhere, or is that just like a crutch? Is that just like a bad habit or a good habit that I picked up somewhere else? And I just can't quite wrap my head around it, whether it's a good idea. Okay, so the ID that it doesn't know what mat icon is. Icon module, so I need to do this, copy, and then import it. And I think it should go after core. Just seems right. And then mat icon module. Oh, wait. Okay, feature modules. I'm not using feature modules. Standalone. Ooh, do I have to have a comment module too? Um, Module required. This is so new to me. Um, Required for for the icon. Okay. I like to add things just if when I need them, just so that like I know that I needed it. Like I don't like to just throw something in there just because just because. Save. Man, it is really slowed down to build. The build used to go a lot faster than it does now. All right. I don't even have. Oh, I do that all the time because it fails, and then it's like it fails, and then it's like that is hideous, by the way. It won't, the IDE complains, and so then I go and make the change in the component, and then I never change the HTML. Okay, so it's working, but it's hideous. It's rendering. Very ugly. On a black background. The icon is rendering white, black dot ovals. Would be black with white ovals. Ugly. I put that in ugly. Okay, so let's grab this thing. I don't want to grab it all. And we put it on the button. And I like this. This is I think I might be unique on this, but I like doing these like this because what happens is if you're working in a large group of people, these sorts of lines here are just notorious for Git conflicts. People just start adding that line, but when you pull everything into its own line, it's just so much easier to it's just so much easier to what am I trying to say? It's just so much easier. Oh, so let's say I need to add like a click handler, and then somebody wants to add like a hover handler, and somebody else wants to add some other kind of right click handler, like different sorts of events and things. We're so much less likely to actually have a direct conflict. Or if I do have a direct conflict, let's say like they just went under there and then they type in their handler, and then I see that I have a conflict with them, I can just go up here and hit enter, and I'm on a different line. I used to work at this one place where we literally, every meeting we ever had, me and this dude would argue about that. Like there was just, like it was 100% chance that if we were going to have a meeting, that me and him were going to have a big argument about whether we should have a new standard where we always put those all on one line. And we even had like a linter that would only allow a maximum length of a line, and it's still like, okay, so that is good. I don't know why it's why this white is here. It's probably some sort of padding or something. So you can do this computed thing and you can see. So there's this padding, this 10 padding that's coming from somewhere. And oh, there it is right there in our app menu. We have padding. So if we got rid of that, we can see it would look a lot better. And then the border shouldn't be, I don't think the border should be, it looks like we shouldn't have any border. So I'm guessing, I don't know what we're seeing now with this. Is it this thing? So I'm trying to figure out why we have these two little, but anyways, let's take care of getting rid of, basically I think we want to get rid of all four of those things. It's always such a, I mean, freaking Angular material giveth and it taketh, because yes, it's very nice that you know, that we have that right out of the gate, but then it's just like, okay, so we don't, maybe if I get rid of the background color, that'll go away. Okay, so it looks a lot better. But there is some shading or beveling. Looks strange. Matte icon of a ripple effect. Okay, so basically we want outline. Oh man, I've spent so many hours trying to find this outline thing. Okay, box shadow is done. So I just kind of want to see what all of these things do. So let's go back into our app menu component, box shadow. Okay, so that didn't do anything. And then outline is done. Oh, it didn't save. Okay, that didn't seem to do anything at all. What did it say? Border none? Or was it 0? I know. There we go. So it looks like it was just the border. And I think that HAR will, yeah, so I think it was just the border. I love you too. See if that's doing anything. See, that doesn't do anything. That's not helping at all. So I think that's what we want. Is white too? Slightly warmer. Probably that's for E-I-E-I-O. Okay, wait. What's this saying? Light gray. Okay, so typical. Okay, EO, EO, EO. That's what I was thinking too. Was probably the one I wanted to go with. E0. It's not EO, but E0. 0. Oh my gosh. And save. I like to watch it actually change. See if the... I don't see it change. Yeah, see, I think we saw it change once I hit the... It's kind of hard. I'm just going to make it 0, 0, 0, just so we can see that something changed. Okay. And Control Z. See, I know that there are contrast issues. I think that looks... I mean, I kind of would like it to be a little less gray. And then, and so this is the button. I feel like it should have like a little round outline, but maybe not. And it's weird to me that it is a button, but it doesn't have the cursor. That I think it's cursor pointer. And then I think we want it to be the very first thing that gets tabbed to. And I think this might be the best time to do that. There's just so many things to do. And that we tab to. New autofocus. I have never seen that one. Huh. Do I want to autofocus there? So I think autofocus would only happen right at the beginning. Let's just try that. Let's see. Well, I can't really tell if something's tabbed. If it has focus, but let's do it. I don't know. This is a rabbit hole. We'll just keep on going down. Tomorrow I do want to focus on that though. Like basically make it to where when you first come in, I guess we'll have an autofocus there. And then when it's focused, it should have some sort of styling change. So that you can see what the focus is on. I don't know. These are like kind of details that are quite pretty darn easy to set up when you're at this point, and a real pain in the butt later, because then you start having consequences, unintended consequences. But like, it's so much easier to deal with sort of the consequences as they arise than later on when you're trying to shoehorn this stuff in. Anyways, I'm sure that was a very long video. Yeah, an hour and 5 minutes, but I thought made pretty good progress. I'm pretty happy with this. I feel like that. I guess that's too far up. Let me take care of that really quick. Maybe 20 and 20. Yeah, I think that's better. I don't know why this is all broken now. I'm sure that was just like another weird thing with that HAR thing. That HAR thing is probably going to turn out being pretty good in the long run, but it's got definitely there's going to be some growing pains to it. But I mean, that is what a healthy or a healthy framework is like. Like if you don't have if you don't experience things like that, then it's probably a zombie. It's probably no one's working it. But anyways, happy coding, everybody. Bye.